All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today we are so excited to be here to talk about building faster with vibe coding. The concept is very simple. You prompt it, build it, and deploy it with natural language instructions. And today we are so excited to explore how this fundamentally changes how we build software, especially when it comes to Salesforce. Of course, this forward-looking statement might be very familiar to most of you. As a Salesforce employee, I'm obliged to remind you that Salesforce is a publicly traded company, and please make sure all your purchasing decisions are based on the products and the services which are generally available. And first and foremost, thank you. Thank you to take your time to meet us today, and I hope you are having a great time at TDX. For people who haven't met us before, I'm Tuan Abdeen, a Salesforce certified technical architect and also an Agentforce senior product forward deployment engineering lead in the Dubai UAE office. I've been with Salesforce for just over 6 years, both working in Salesforce Australia and now in the UAE practice. And in the second half of this session, we have a vibe coding demo conducted by Attilio. Attilio, you want to do the introductions?
Hi, I'm Attilio. I'm an Agentforce product forward deployed engineer in Italy, at Salesforce, based in Milan, in Italy. I joined Salesforce at the end of last year, but I've been working with the Salesforce ecosystem for the last 8 years.
All right, thanks, Attilio. So without further ado, let's understand what is vibe coding. Simply put, it's a way of developing software through natural language instructions. And it's a shift away from expecting detailed technical specs over natural language conversation to build software. By 2028, Gartner predicts that 40% of the new enterprise software will be built this way. And the key difference when it comes to Salesforce is that vibe coding is going to be context aware. It will know the Salesforce specific metadata, governance limits, and the schema. Hence, it eliminates that blank page problem by scaffolding, Lightning Web Components, Apex, triggers, etc. Whereas vibe coding can accelerate your development time by 84% and decrease time to value by 90%. So let's understand what are the typical usage of vibe coding. It's an ideal use case for rapid prototyping. Whether you are building an MVP or a proof of concept, to validate an idea at a lightning speed, you can leverage vibe coding principles. Same goes with starting with a new greenfield project, where it has minimal constraints and technical debt, and you have greater flexibility to start creating applications from scratch. You can start leveraging vibe coding. And also, when it comes to smart refactoring, you can start leveraging AI assistants to improve, optimize your legacy code base with vibe coding. Let's now understand the evolution of the developer's role. Now we are moving away from the manual labor era to more of a new vibe-led era. If you look at the left side image, two developers hunched onto a monitor reading 500 lines of code, where the developer might have spent 8 to 16 hours of writing boilerplate code, and the tech lead might have waited days to expecting a pull request to review. Whereas most oftenly, they look at syntax errors and small issues and missing out that architectural, the bigger picture, because they are buried under the weeds. With vibe coding on the right side, vibe code does the heavy lifting. 80% of the repetitive code is managed and handled by the AI, where your value as a developer moves from writing code to more of a judgmenter or an orchestrator, where AI looks at the syntax errors, missing out semicolons, they look at that, refactors the code automatically for scalability. Imagine this as pair programming on steroids. The shift is not just for developers. If you look at personas, it's for everyone. Vibe coding can be used whether you are an architect, developer, admin, consultant, or even as part of operations team. As an architect, you become a blueprint orchestrator. You can leverage AI to visualize your schema strategy. It can automatically identify hundreds of Salesforce objects in your org, understand the technical complexity, the technical debt automatically. With AI, you can automate governance and guardrails, map cross-cloud architectures, and multi-cloud synchronization. As a developer, it becomes a logic pilot. You can automatically refactor legacy code with ease with natural language instructions. You can automatically generate unit test classes, instant integration with scaffolding, and this AI becomes part of the fix-it loop. It automatically reads your logs, debugging problems, and quickly refactors the code and fix the problems for you automatically. As an admin and consultant, it becomes part of the process architect. You are moving away from clicks over code to more of a describe to deploy persona. Whether you are configuring a permission set, a data model, UI, or creating a flow, you are basically giving the output in natural language instructions to the AI, where it automatically creates, validates, and deploys the metadata for you instantly. And last but not least, as part of the ops team, you are becoming a platform guardian. You are moving away from a ticket resolver to more of a system optimizer with vibe coding, where you can automate a lot of behind-the-scene platform tasks, which keeps the lights on for your organization. Now, let's talk about the AI tools in our disposal. In 2026, the ecosystem has matured into a full-stack Vibe suite. Not just Agentforce Vibes, you have tools such as Cursor AI, Claude AI, Claude Code, Windsurf, just to name a few. But today's content is not about comparing each one of these tools, but it's about enlightening and highlighting the capabilities of vibe coding, how it can accelerate your development lifecycle, more specifically when it comes to Salesforce development. Let's begin with Agentforce Vibes, formerly known as Agentforce for developers, which is a context-aware agentic development platform built by Salesforce. And it is a natural language code assistant tool to turn intent into working solutions. And this VS Code extension of Vibe is powered by a highly successful open source project called Klein. And the key feature of Vibe, Agentforce Vibe, is the plan mode, where it allows you to think before you build and change metadata. AI can automatically analyze your project, identify risks, and create that context without even changing any of your metadata in the org. And once you review, and once you're happy with that, you can switch to the act mode, where AI can automatically create, validate, and deploy instantly with a simple prompt. And you might have heard how powerful Cursor AI and Claude AI are. Both of them are agentic IDE-based tools. But today, I want to introduce you to another tool which we call Claude Code, which is a CLI-based, command line-based agentic tool, which is one of the industry-leading agentic development platforms for vibe coding by Anthropic. And it uses Anthropic's most powerful models like Opus for code generation and complex refactoring tasks. And it uses Sonnet as another model for very complex multi-factored requests and exceptional for deep reasoning, because it leverages advanced capabilities like soft skills, connectors with integrations, and MCP support. But with generative AI, there are still some common challenges and pitfalls for us to look out for. Hallucination is still a key factor. Of course, LLMs are improving on a daily basis, and it is improving and optimizing on course correction, but there is still of an element of hallucination, so look out for that. Secondly, inconsistent code quality. The generated code may not fully follow your organizational best practices, standards, and design patterns. Hence why we call it as developer or the human in the loop process, where developer needs to still review that generated code and adapt to your corporate standards. Lack of context. Unclear prompts may lead to technically infeasible or misaligned solutions. Same goes with deployment and debugging complexities when it comes to vibe coded generated content. And last but not least, security and compliance risks. Again, the generated code might not follow your corporate security standards, data privacy, and governance. Again, developer needs to look at this code and make sure they follow the security posture of your organization. Despite of all these challenges with vibe coding, these are some of my favorite vibe coding use cases. Rapid configuration setup. Whether you are creating an object, custom fields, validation rules, these type of metadata, you can quickly and easily create them with simple prompts. Same goes with access controls and security modeling. Whether you are creating a permission set group, again, you can do that easily with a simple prompt. Creating foundational codes, whether you are scaffolding Lightning Web Components, Apex, generating or creating unit test classes, you can do that with a simple prompt easily. And in my previous role, I've done tons of technical org assessment and security org assessments. Now, and I spend many hours and weeks of doing that manually. Now with tools like Cursor AI and Claude Code, with natural language prompts, you can easily assess an org and reduce technical debt in minutes rather than hours. I think that's enough talking. Maybe let me hand over to Attilio to show you a demo how these concepts come to real life.
Thank you, Tuan. Yes, let's start and take a look at a demo. For our demo, we have a scenario. Let's say we have our marketing department. They asked us to show on an account what is the loyalty status. Okay, so we have to create some custom fields. We have to create a permission set. We have to create custom fields. We have to create an LWC to show this loyalty status, and then we have to fine-tune the LWC. Now, for the sake of the demo, this is recorded. So here we are in Cursor. We are opening the Agentforce Vibes extension, and I'm writing here a prompt. I want to create and deploy on the default org a custom permission set called customer support, and I specify what I want the API name to be. And I want this permission set to give access to the account object in both read and write. I hit the button, and now I see that Agentforce Vibes is starting to think. It's creating a plan, and it will implement what it thinks would be a good solution for its task. Let's note that Agentforce Vibes does not work directly on the org. It works on the metadata. So first thing it's done, it has created a new file and added just the permissions I asked. Second thing it's doing is trying to deploy. Now, trust me, this is a deployment that went in error. This was on purpose, because what I want to show here is that Agentforce Vibes will not stop until it successfully completes the task. So now it's applying the needed fix, and will attempt to deploy again until everything is fixed and deployed. Now, here there's a little surprise that came to me, because it proposed me to automatically assign this permission set to my user. So I clicked the button, accepted the suggestion, and now we have this permission set assigned to my user. Next thing we have to do is to create a custom field. Again, in the same session, I say that I want a new custom field to be created called loyalty points on the person account. I want that to be a number without decimal. It must be readable and writable by the users with that permission set. And I also specify that I want this field to be added in a specific layout. Note here that I'm tagging a file. So I'm tagging this metadata, because of course I retrieved some metadata in my workspace. So I have this layout. I specify that I want it to be in a specific new section called loyalty. So now what Agentforce Vibes is doing is creating the new metadata for the new field. Second thing, it will open the layout, trying to understand where to create the new section. It will create a new section. It will place the field under the new section. And last but not least, it will update the permission set, adding the permission for the new field. Once all these actions have been done by Agentforce Vibes, it will attempt to deploy everything in one shot. And again, in case of errors, it will try to fix and deploy until everything is successfully deployed on our org. Here, this is a little bit speeded up, like 1.5 per. So it's really as fast as you are seeing right now. I remember my old developer days, this was taking a few minutes to do. So let's now go on our org, we refresh it, and we can see that we have a new loyalty section and a loyalty points field. We can see that we can read this field, we can write this field, we can update, and it looks like it's what we asked. Now we want to create another custom field. In this case, it's a loyalty status. I specify that I want this to be a formula field, and I specify what is the requirement for my formula field. It should be a string. It should be a string that defines that it can be new, gold, silver, bronze, based on the loyalty points. I also specify again that I want this field to be placed under the same section and readable by the users with such permission set. Again, Agentforce Vibes now has created the metadata for me. It's adding the field under the section in the layout, and it's adding the permission on the permission set. Let's note here that in the permission set, it's only noted as readable but not editable, because it's, of course, a formula field. You cannot edit that. Upon refreshing our org, we can see that the field is there. It's a formula field, so it's automatically pre-filled. We try to change it a couple of times until we do a sort of developer test. Cannot call this really a unit test. But we are ready to proceed then to the next task, which is create an LWC. Okay, here I specify that I want to visualize the loyalty status in the customer page. Hence, I want a custom LWC that reads the loyalty status and loyalty points and displays the current status and a progress bar, and that shows how many points are left until the next tier. Again, I'm here tagging a file because I want this LWC to be placed under the Lightning record page. What's happening here upon entering the prompt? Agentforce Vibes will start to think about what it will do. So first of all, it will create the metadata, then it will add first of all, we'll create the LWC, then it will add the LWC to the Lightning record page, and then it will deploy everything to our org. Now, we're letting Agentforce Vibes doing its magic. I will comment what's happening here. First of all, it's creating a JavaScript file, then the HTML file, and then the CSS file. What is cool about the LWC that I noticed is that every time it creates a new file, it will constantly check if everything makes sense. So if it created in a CSS class that is not then used in the HTML, it will either change the HTML or the CSS. So now you will see that it's iterating all over again until everything is consistent and makes sense. Once Agentforce Vibes thinks it's done, it will create the metadata file, the meta file, and then it will try to deploy everything on our org. Now it's adding the LWC in the Lightning record page, and again it will try to deploy everything. In case of deployment errors like the one you can see here, it will automatically fix everything and deploy. Okay, the LWC is here on our page, but okay, my bad here, I did not specify I wanted a Salesforce look and feel. That's why we need this LWC to be a little bit fine-tuned. Okay, let's write another prompt. In this case, I write a simple prompt that says, I need this LWC to use the Salesforce look and feel, edit the HTML file so it looks like a Salesforce component. Here I'm not tagging any file, I'm not saying which LWC I want to be modified. I'm not saying you need to deploy it. But thanks to the context, Agentforce Vibes remembers what I'm working on, so he knows that we are working on the loyalty status LWC. So finally understood what I want, and we can see that some SLDS classes are appearing in our HTML. Now that this LWC will be fine-tuned, of course it will never be production ready, but this is good maybe for a call in which I'm displaying this to my team, to the customer, or maybe to executive, but it's not something that can go to production. This should be given to a human developer, so we have to always keep the human in the loop, so it can be fine-tuned and made pixel perfect. I think he's done. And once it's done, we can see that if we refresh our page, no, it's not done yet. I remember this to be faster. But still it's making me save a lot of time comparing to doing that manually. Okay, now it's finally deploying everything in our org. And our component looks a little bit better. Of course, we can add more prompts for icons, different colors, badges, whatever we want. But the idea is that if I had to do this manually, it would have taken maybe 4 hours one day. Tuan, any last minute tip for us?
I think we are right on the time. All right, that's a wrap, folks. And if you need a copy of this slide deck, please scan this QR code. And I want to end this slide with a question. Are you ready to transform your build? Stop coding and start vibe coding. So a few call to action items. Get familiar with the tool sets that we just introduced. These AI tools are no longer optional in terms of our development lifecycle anymore. So do not hesitate to experiment. And shift your mindset away from writing code to more of being a judgmenter. And lastly, keep it simple. Prompt it, build it, and deploy it. That's all, folks. Thank you. And please submit the survey by scanning the QR code. You may win a Starbucks gift card on us. And lastly, the session summaries will be available very soon on the event's mobile app. Thank you.